Now, you may have heard recently that real estate has had a little bit higher demand, and that's like in the last month or so. Let me tell you that I'm reading an article that says something a little bit opposite to that. It's actually an article talking about KB Homes, which is a pretty large national builder. And let me tell you what they said in their quarterly earnings report, because this is an indication of what's about to come. First and foremost, let's get down to the most important thing. They lowered their projections. Their expected projections went down. It's not only a full year projection of their revenue, but also of their profits. And if you're wondering, how much are they lowering it by? So on a post-call earnings phone call that the Chief Executive Officer, Jeff Metzger, mentioned, he said that that March started off strong and everything was looking great back then. And mind you, we're in the end of June right now, so March is not that long ago. And then he said that the net orders in April and May declined. And what makes this surprising is that this is not the traditional trajectory that new construction home builders have. You see, in the spring is when people start buying homes and moving, right? This is the time when the snow is melted, and in the US, obviously I'm in Florida, a little different here, but this is when there's a lot more activity, buying activity out there. And the people that benefit a lot are new construction home builders. And right now they're saying that they are not going to have what they thought they were going to have back in March, because March was looking good. And then when you just look at the history of how things progress in the early spring, they had some expectations that are not being met. Hey, as always, if you're enjoying my content, I just ask you to help out. Maybe click the like button, maybe subscribe. Anything you can do to help the channel grow is greatly appreciated. Maybe you want someone to watch this, so share this video. Not only that, but you have to combine it with another thing that they did. They lowered prices. So not only is the spring demand not there, but they also tried to incentivize some of that demand by lowering their prices, and it's still not there. What does that tell you about the general feel of the economy, the consumer sentiment? What does that tell you? You know, when I look at it, it tells me that even with all the amazing incentives that new construction builders offer, it's not that they can't offer, they're all offering it. They're all offering some really low interest rate, or tons of upgrades, or maybe a premium lot, all at the same price or even lower price, like in this example of KB Homes, and the demand is still not there. Now, of course, you know, they're blaming it on one thing, and that's interest rates. And I get it. Interest rates are not very favorable after we've had, you know, a 15-year run of sub 5% interest rates. And now we're at 7, if not higher. So if you're wondering how much things went down, the new orders that ended, you know, May 31st, just not even a month ago, they dropped 13.4%. That is a very big decrease in the number of homes that they have, you know, under contract. And the average price of home, you want to know what that is? Well, it used to be $508,357, so just a little over 508. And now it's at $465,611. So that's a very big decrease in the price, almost 10%. So the Chief Operating Officer, Rob McGurney, says that the consumers are growing increasingly apprehensive. And let me tell you about just personal experience as a real estate agent here in Sarasota, Florida. By the way, I'm taking a walk here at Celery Fields. There's literally nobody here. There's always somebody here. This is crazy. There's nobody here. This is just east of the interstate off of Palmer. And I love it here. It's a great park to come to. So I'm not surprised. My experience here is that a lot of people, recent experience I should say, is a lot of people are just like holding back. They're just waiting. They're just hoping for either interest rates to go down or prices to come down. Most of them are waiting for the prices to come down. I have quite a few buyers out there that I'm showing property to, and you know, very few of them are pulling the trigger. And when they do pull the trigger to make an offer, the price is, the offer price is really low. Now we're not talking about 30% off, but we are talking at least 10% off. Now let me mention one other thing, by the way, about KB Homes here. Their profit margin is expected to be right around 19%, and it was at 20%. So even with all these price cuts that they're doing to prevent the inventory, the stagnant inventory, from continually increasing, they're still profiting quite a bit. So you buy, a median price home, and for their market, they're expecting the between 470, 480,000. They're still profiting like $90,000 on that home. So it makes you wonder, maybe they're not selling because their pockets are being padded, right? Because their profit margin is pretty high. Most contractors, they're not taking this high profit. Now on to other news. Let's talk about the part, what area in the United States is like the epicenter of price decreases, of low demand, of trouble in the housing market. Where is it? Well, this is Florida Real Estate TV after all. So here we are. Number one place is South Florida, which basically is comprised of Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Boca Raton, all those counties down there, all those cities and counties down there. That area is right now the epicenter of home prices decreasing, contracts being low. So let's talk about some numbers. How bad is it? Because as they mention in this other article here that I'm reading, is that, housing bubbles, they don't always burst. Sometimes they slowly come down. And this is kind of what's happening right now in South Florida. One thing to look at when you're looking at the data is the number of contracts that are falling apart, number of contracts that are written, number of contracts that go from written to closed. And year over year in April, they went down, and they went down significantly. So let's go over some numbers because this is a little crazy. In Miami, pending sales went down 23%. That's crazy. That is a very big decrease. And also transactions in Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach went down 19% and 14% respectively. Now, the head of economics at Redfin, Mr. Chen Zhao, he said that right now that region is clearly under some pressure, some serious pressure. And it's true, it really is under some serious pressure. Their inventory is increasing every single month for quite a while at this point, but most significantly in the last year. Another metric to look at is how long homes are sitting on the market. So once again, they're leading those numbers as well. And this is like a national thing. You're looking at nationally, where are homes sitting the longest? Here's what's going on there. In April, the median time to sell in West Palm and Fort Lauderdale was 83 days and 81 days. That's a long time. Now, listen, the Great Recession in 2008 was a lot worse than that, okay? A lot worse. But eventually, it did get fixed. And just like that time, this time, it'll also kind of get better. But I think there's going to be a lot more pain first. If you're wondering, the national average of how long it takes, before a home goes from listing to contract, that number's 40. So they are over double the median price, the median time to go under contract nationwide. Some investors might think that that's an opportunity, that there might be some people who are sitting on the market for, 120 days, and maybe they would just take a lowball offer. And listen, the answer is maybe so. Maybe they would. You won't know until you try. I have had many of my lowball offers get accepted. I do recommend you find a good agent and try it out. And even though that area is suffering with long times to contract and lots of inventory, you still have to look at the overall housing shortage in the United States. They're saying that we're still at 4.5 million homes short. Now, I don't know if deportations are going to change those numbers, where there's less demand for housing or not. It's quite possible.